All right, we're all set. Thank you, fellow Toolboxers, for coming to the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox first workshop live conference session. We have a couple of members who have emergencies who couldn't make it, so we're recording this too, and hopefully the recording works out well so we can share that with you. The circle.so place is a good place to put your questions in so that we have it for future reference as well. If we miss a question that you had, I can make sure to go back and answer it and have a good library of stuff. So the difference between this conference and things done before is the interactivity, the digital aspects of it. So it allows us to keep the conference experience going, to have the best full course and just keep adding to the library of documents and information as time goes on, especially in the near term, just to get everything that you need to get started with this. So again, thank you for coming. It's pouring rain outside. It never happens in LA like this. Probably going to be snow, which in my lifetime happened for a second when I was like at 4 or something like that in LA. But at the bright side, less distractions. You don't see the sunny beach outside and the fresh air, but hopefully it opens up a little bit because I intentionally chose this place because how many windows it had, because it really brightens up your life having this kind of experience with this. But we're here nominally to study O-1 visas, extraordinary ability visas, and that's the main reason everyone flew out here from all over the country. But it's not really that. For me, it's the big picture gets you here. But really the more important thing is the other aspect of us being close to each other, especially 2 years after COVID and being separated. And we've all seen each other on Zoom, and it's kind of surreal, the Zoom experience. Because when we see each other, you feel like, oh, we sat next to each other, but it's still something else to be able to have all your senses intertwined with somebody when you're communicating with them and talking with them. So I really want you to have that in the front and back of your mind that you're here for the O-1, but recording stuff will be here. But a lot of it has to do with the people sitting to your left and right and the connections that you make with them, because it's the deep personal relationships that are going to last in the long term for both business and personal reasons. And that's what I wanted this conference to fully develop with the breakfast, lunch, and dinner aspect of it. And hopefully in the future it'll be a whole weekend kind of thing where we go on excursions and stuff. But stepping stones till we get there. Lawyers have a special place in society. We take our knowledge and education, and we develop relationships with the community to share the information and make their lives better. I've always wanted the Toolbox to have that role too for fellow colleagues to exponentially grow what we're doing. And so we've been able to successfully do that. And that's the point of this workshop, as I said. My story of need for growth is there's different parts to it. But with regard to the Toolbox in particular, it grew out of a loneliness that I had of being a solo practitioner and wanting to talk with people and connect with people. So I made a podcast out of it as an excuse to drag people to come and talk with me, to publicize them and market them. And I love talking about immigration law that I learned. Everyone's like that. Just immigration law is so fascinating that I always want to share it. And that podcast grew and became a magazine and now a workshop and all these international relationships I developed. And I realized the true value of it was the connections, where people contact me all the time that were referred by people I don't even know, clients coming in. So it's really amazing. This week I had a Canadian immigration lawyer refer me to a Washington State couple. And they kept saying, oh, this person's so great. She said this. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's wonderful. I had no idea who the person was. It's always kind of embarrassing. I just have to smile like I know him. But it happens consistently, and I really want to have that opportunity for you all too. That's why I like having people on the show, so they take advantage of that community of immigration lawyers as well, so they could all grow with it. And through this, I've helped the Toolbox and myself helped dozens of people find jobs, hundreds of mentorships and stuff, and it's been a wonderful experience. And it's been reciprocated because I've been able to develop a lot of mentorships through that as well to get me where I'm going to get here. And so there's the marketing aspect, but also the personal aspect and the friendships that come about it. If we look at the speakers here, it's incredible through the years we developed with Jerry, Ron, I don't want to miss everyone, Nicola, it's not that many people over here, but Nicholas, Joseph, and Flavia to come and to come and speak. Each one of you individually, over time, we developed for meetings and Zooms and videos, and it's amazing how diverse our field is. I don't intentionally ever come out to do things for diversity's sake. I think it's too two-dimensional how it's become. I thought, okay, let's check this box, but just I asked my friends, and down the line, is a computer couldn't create such a diverse cast of people coming to talk with you today where it checks every box unintentionally completely. And that really goes to our field and how amazing it is that there's this group of people that are so talented that are coming to help each other. So, the mission of the Toolbox is educational development, personal development, and to promote people in our field. And those are the two-pronged things that I'm always focused on when I'm talking to our co-sponsors and stuff, if they want to do something, or vendors or anybody. I always say, how does this educate and how does this help promote immigration lawyers? We have other organizations who do that kind of stuff too, but I want to be real hardcore that we're promoting immigration law for the field to get better and promote the lawyers. It's something I always focus on. So it's a changing world we're going through. There's a time in our history that's never happened before, in my opinion, that's changing things. I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Should I slow it down? Okay, I'll jump. So, as I talked about earlier, is the relationship of immigration lawyers or just lawyers in general in society relative to everybody. It's a really special place. The history of our practice as American lawyers comes back from the heritage of England. And when you look back what happened there, it wasn't too far as we're seeing right now where a society of elites ruled everybody. Everyone was just serfs and had no rights and stuff like that. Eventually, rights did emerge for the people, and the people who spearheaded and defended those rights were lawyers. And we had a special position between the elites and the masses of people to help defend them and advocate for them. So we never want to lose sight of that role of what we are. As we're going through a time in society right now where this middle class is developed in the West in particular, where people could live a normal life, that is getting shattered day by day with the financial situations that are happening. And as we just see everything that's going on, we see at the border with South America, Central America, West Africans, Chinese people, even sometimes the largest number, coming to the southern border come in. We see breakdowns in war in Eastern Europe and all over the place. We're seeing a huge crisis, both financial and personal and humanitarian. And immigration lawyers always see this first because we get the calls when something happens in Ukraine or Yemen or anywhere. It's faster than CNN. We've got a bit more information than all these news people have because we get the first calls when this kind of stuff happens. So it's a really special place to be, and it's really important to always remember that role that we have in there. And then the question is, why do I keep talking about people? Why do I keep talking about coming here, talking connections? Because there's a massive change coming that I think it hasn't happened in history. There's been great inventions of finding how to use fire, the wheel, Industrial Revolution, creating the car, birth control, the internet even. But a couple months ago, a new thing came about, which is the creation of AI that we could interact with, ChatGPT. Who here has used ChatGPT? Who has not? Who's used ChatGPT before? Oh, who has not used ChatGPT? Who has never heard of it? It's okay. Well, you're going to hear about it. This is such a game changer that I might say, if you have your internet right now, feel free during the session to go and log in and create an account and start messing around with this system, because this might be the greatest invention that's ever happened in all of human history. It's such a game changer where we're playing God, essentially, creating an entity that can almost think for itself and interact with somebody thinking it's a real person. And this is going to wipe away millions and millions of job positions, starting with the white-collar work, the educational work that we do. So this is a massive change that's going to happen in our field. And so it's really important to start thinking about this right now because it is a whole new world. Now, for those who've used ChatGPT and for those who are going to use it, the first feeling you get when you see how wonderful the results are, how incredible they are, you get a deep fear in your stomach because you're like, wow, this thing is alive or some sort of way, and it's going to probably take my job in some sort of fashion. So that is the first thing that comes up when we talk about it. It's mind-blowing what it is, but you got to always remember that this is a tool. And so if you use that tool properly, and if you use it early enough before everyone else knows, as you saw the percentage of the room that was familiar with it or not, we have another 6 months left before everyone knows about it. So it gives you an advantage, a first mover advantage, use this tool in a proper way to succeed. But you got to remember, it's just a tool, especially when you're frustrated. I've been using it recently for writing blogs and material like that, and things that would take me half an hour to write or think about. Within a minute, I can have it, and it's better than what I would write. That's the incredible part. I just got to tweak some stuff here and there. So, you might see me on LinkedIn posting. Sometimes I post more than other times because I'm like, I don't have the time or the energy to write. This, I just say, write something about O-1 visas that's nice for, Brazilian gymnasts, and it'll write it for you. And so it's like, okay, like you could have hired a copyright person and paid him $100 for that. This comes within 2 seconds, and it's free. And you can say translate to Portuguese, and within a minute it'll translate to Portuguese. And it's like 90% accurate when I see translations into Farsi. So it's an incredible thing to have out there. It's going to wipe out a lot of things. It's a complete game changer what is happening. But what it cannot wipe out is the personal connection that people have. And that's what you bring. So when I started saying that O-1 visas is a big thing we're talking about, the computer's going to probably do a chunk of this work in a couple of years. The advantage you get from this session, the education you're getting for the next 1, 2, 3 years will help your firm grow, help you make a war chest, a treasure chest to have on the next thing that happens. But the deeper thing is the community you create here to be able to go past that in the 5 or 10 year mark, to rely on each other for friendship, for information, for special private secrets that other people might not know about that we share with each other to get us to the next level. And that's why I really wanted everyone to be here to talk with the person to the left and the right, have lunch, have dinner, to know this person's here. And luckily we're all scattered across the country, so it's a full U.S. kind of situation where everyone can help each other out. When they find out something in Florida, they can help out someone in the Northeast, the Southwest, and all over the place. The early adopter aspect is really important. I remember when I do a lot of internet marketing and stuff like that, and I have an up and down system where I'll do it, I'll get a lot of clients, I get too busy and it goes down. So I'm always having, especially now, backing up my operations to be able to handle the flow that comes with it. But I remember a couple years back, I decided, okay, I'm going to go hard on Instagram and work on it properly, because I was getting a client a month just from a couple of simple posts. So I remember it was December 2018. I'm like, okay, every day this month I'm going to have a good post. I did it for 30 days. Instead of getting 100 followers I usually done for every couple of posts, I was getting the whole month I got 10. I'm like, what happened? What happened is Instagram changes the algorithm and stopped having free people. You have to pay to play nowadays. Facebook did the same. And I realized, I was just sitting on this, and I didn't take advantage of it. 2 years later, when TikTok came out, I'm like, I'm going to be quick on this. I was one of the first 3 immigration lawyers to start posting videos. Within a month and a half, I had 10 or 15,000 followers. I'm like, oh, this is incredible. But then I got busy, and I let it taper off. Now people have 700,000, 1 million, 3 million followers, and I'm at 20, 25,000 or something like that. Take advantage of the tool that is ChatGPT as soon as possible before anyone else does, because it'll give you that competitive advantage that's there. And don't be left behind. Learning these tools and using them as tools in the community is going to be a complete game changer for yourself and your personal life, which you're already doing, but to expand it, because the bar is opening right now, the legal bar. We have a situation where in many states, in Utah and Arizona, they're making non-lawyers be able to participate in partnership tracks to become partners with non-lawyers. We have foreign accounting firms that are plugging in and getting into this business as well. So we're going to see massive disruption, not just from these tools that are going to be able to do half our job, if not more, but also really hardcore business people coming in who do marketing much better than a random immigration lawyer who does it for on the side. So you got to use all these stuff the best way possible and learn it now, because the next 2 or 3 years is going to be completely different, and you got to prepare for it. Now I'm going to be somewhat contrarian. Even on my podcast, I've said oh, recession is here, recession is coming, spending's down. Everyone is saying recession is here, depression is here, all that kind of stuff. One thing I learned from some contrarian angle is if everyone is saying the same thing, then it's probably wrong. Even though in my heart, I'm like, not hard, I guess, but I see, I'm like, oh, things are getting really bad out here. But because everyone believes the same thing, that's when those opposite things happen. So there's a chance that this ChatGPT, and I probably think of the efficiency that's coming from this, is going to drive down costs so low that we might see a boom, actually, a huge rally in the next 2, 3, 5 years, which will be a complete game changer. So if that's the case, which it may be, use this time to accumulate the friendships and the money and all the support needed to be able to harness it when things do fall apart, which never really will in the 5 or 10 years because we have such an uprun. But this technology is an incredible thing to really use to the best of your ability and to just connect with people to do it right. So again, I want to go back to the core of my message here is to really use this time to connect with people, to understand them, to empathize, develop those relationships because it's really special. And we are in a unique field where the friendships are at a different level, where competition of business doesn't come into place. Right now, we have some of the top O-1 immigration areas in the country, especially 3 of them focus on the Brazilian market, complete competitors coming here, and there's 2 Brazilians in the audience who are going to be the new competitors coming in, and for free, they're coming to share all their secrets, to give away their samples and all this kind of stuff. Nowhere in the world does any business do this. Everyone tells it's crazy. But it works in our field. It's amazing how that works. I don't understand it, but I love it because I come from a perspective of abundance. I'm like, the more people in Brazil know about O1s, the more clients we're all going to get. So for me, my advertising mostly like, hey, did you know you could get an immigration attorney? Rather than say call me, it's like get an immigration attorney. We had it where Ombudsman's Office and Department of State both gave out statistics last year. I try to cite it as much as possible. They said only 30% of the people sending applications in are using attorneys. So our competition is not with each other, it's with people realizing they could get an attorney. And our prices vary. As long as a lot of us are there, some people do it less expensive, some do it more, the basis of why people hire people. But we just got to let the public know that you should be hiring an immigration attorney to do this kind of stuff so you don't mess up at the National Visa Center. You don't mess up and say something that's going to be an inadmissibility later. You should always have an immigration lawyer with you. So that is our challenge is to help each other promote the field in general. And so I really want to share that and always push that idea. Because one thing I've seen, and I listen to a lot of these billionaires who are dying stories and people who are in hospice, and they ask, what's what you missed in life? And they always talk about it's the relationships that was the most important thing. So I always want to repeat that in my own life. I always think, how am I treating my wife? How much fun are we having? How much time am I spending with my kids? And then as you get older, especially for men, we have less and less friends. It's just the way it is. We're busy with our family and working. But in the immigration field, your friends could be your colleagues. It's usually not like that. People always say, oh, that's my work friend or something like that. But I could go with Nicholas and Joseph and have a drink or something like that. I mean, we don't really drink, but we have a burrito or something like that. But
we're going to get both.
Yeah. And the great thing with Zoom is, although we're separate, we're still close. The AILA conference is going to be in Florida. A lot of people here are coming from Florida. And we just get the chance to meet. And hey, if you're visiting LA, always just give me a call. The whole point of life is to spend time with people and have fun. We're using all these opportunity to meet more people and have more fun and develop those relationships. So I have a lot of stuff I want to talk about. I got too excited. I'm speeding through it and missing a bunch of this. I should have practiced a little more. But that's the thing about it. When I was young, I was very shy and insecure, like to a point where someone could have stabbed me and I wouldn't say anything. I would have been like, I'm too embarrassed to even talk. And then when I got older in high school and I realized, I'm not really developing friends, I'm not getting a girlfriend, nothing's happening in life the way I want it to. I'm like, I got to change things. I got to learn how to just communicate at first to be able to communicate to people. And it was really hard because I had such lack of practice communicating that I would just mumble all the time. People couldn't understand me. Even now, I'll listen to my podcast sometimes and I can't even understand what I'm saying myself. Either I'm talking too fast or I don't finish my sentence. I jump around ideas. But I realized this is something I got to do. If I was 18, you had told anybody I was going to come here and create a conference and come speak right here, it completely is impossible. I wouldn't have believed in myself. But I said, almost 40 now, 20 years now, I'm like, every day, practice speaking out loud, finding an excuse. In class, I would raise my hand even if I didn't know the answer, just as did a talk, and for people to laugh at me, so I get comfortable with people laughing at me. It's okay, it is what it is. And just pushing yourself to these uncomfortable positions to be able to participate in society and community so much. As immigration lawyers in an O-1 space and EB-1s, which I work on more, I don't work on O-1s historically, but it's fascinating. You see your work in history in the newspapers. When you go to Las Vegas, you'll see your clients on billboards. When you go and buy some technology, you're like, oh, my guy made this, my gal made this. It's amazing. You literally will touch society in your work. At very few places could you do something like this, and in all aspects. I mean, you could touch people who run the Olympics and won gold medals on the box of cereals and say, oh, that's my client, I brought him here. You can listen to famous podcasts, actors, actresses. I mean, the O-1 is all over the place. You can do anything with an O-1. There's no cap on it, too. So that's why it's a really extraordinary visa itself. Not only is it for extraordinary people, but the category is extraordinary, and it leads you and allows you to develop a really extraordinary life through it. So I want to thank you all for coming in. I'm going to leave you with some final notes of the importance of, again, community and relationships that develop to have the success you want to have in life, which a lot of times come with financial means, so you don't have to worry about money and spend time with your family. You got to learn to communicate and develop relationships for that to happen. But once you do that and you get what you want, you realize the means was the end. Just the development of these communication tools and friendships was the joy and pleasure that we have through all of it. And the O-1, the education stuff, all of that is a necessary tool for it, but it was not the primary reason there. So feel free to mingle each other, talk with each other this weekend, communicate afterwards. Respect the time of each other. Obviously, we're lawyers and we're busy, and a lot of information we give, we charge people thousands of dollars for. But we're always there to help each other. But that's about it. Again, thank you so much for all coming. It's a real honor to have people fly out here in the rain and spend all this money and time and be away from your families and stuff to come visit. It's really humbling that this is here. I want to thank the speakers. You're all just wonderful. It's really, you get emotional about something like this to have, create something 6 months ago. I was talking to Roman Zelchenko, if you don't know him. He's a really big immigration guy. He's on LinkedIn a lot too. I was talking about the AILA conference, and we're talking about, I'm like, I should just make a conference too. And all of a sudden, 6 months later, it's created out of the ether. So it's a real pleasure to be here with y'all. Thank you so much, and enjoy the show.